Let's talk today about the connection between the immune system and our gut, or our gut and the immune system. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And we want to be well in all categories. This month we've been focusing on being well in the immune system. So there's a couple things that are going on, or the connection between the gut and our diet and what we are doing to our intestines and the immune system that are really worth talking about in the wellness category. So there's a lot of lymph nodes in the gut, and there's a lot of focus and attention on the gut because it's vulnerable. And let me explain what I'm talking about. So the immune system is ready. Lymph nodes are put in areas that are vulnerable. They're a line of defense. Okay, so we talked about the tonsils, in the mouth, tonsils, adenoids. Those are there to protect an opening, right? So this is an opening. This is a way in for bacteria and foreign material. Well, the gut, the tube, the digestive tube is what, like a 30-foot tube that goes between mouth and anus that is still outside the body. Understand what I'm saying? Anything that's inside the tube is still literally on the outside of our body. It's in the middle of the tube that goes through the center, but it's not been put into our bloodstream yet. It's not part of us. So the body is protecting this tube all along the way. Well, the most vulnerable areas of the tube were first of course, right in the beginning, but then it's in this long, windy area in the abdomen where, the tube's all smushy and gushy and it's all, and it's long and windy down there, and it's warm and it's moist, and it's an ideal place for stuff to grow. If you ever put, just food out on the counter in a warm, moist kind of context, you're going to see all kinds of things grow, especially fungus. So the immune system, or the lymph nodes, are all throughout the abdomen to catch anything that might be making it through the intestinal wall, that into the bloodstream, into the lymph, that really shouldn't be there, any kind of foreign material, okay? So there's a lot of activity and work going on. So this is very important. So if we want to have a good relationship between the immune system and the gut, well, first of all, you try to avoid abdominal surgeries, okay, when they tear open the gut and they rip the fascia out and it messes up the lymph flow. Right now we're compromising our gut's ability, the immune system's ability to capture all that. Sometimes we can't avoid that, but if it can be avoided, that would be good. No, too many gallbladders being ripped out when you can actually do a gallbladder flush and take care of the stones. So, a whole different topic. But let's talk about at the beginning of life. Okay, so they talk about as infants, it takes 9 months before the gut closes. Okay. And so the gut is very vulnerable during this time, and if you have a lot of inflammation in the gut right early in life, then what inflammation does to the gut is it actually causes the inflammatory cascade, causes the connective tissue to loosen, and the cells, the space between the cells is loosens. That's, with tissue swells, it gets filled with fluid, and the cells actually separate. Well, and especially as an infant, when those cells separate, the gut becomes open and stuff starts getting into the bloodstream that really shouldn't be there. And here's where early on in life we start creating antibodies to foreign material that's in the gut, which is undigested food, for example. And so you don't want your baby to eat too early. You don't want them to eat too early, especially if they don't have. It's a balance, but if they don't have good flora because mom's had 1,000 antibiotics and there's no gut flora left, and those are what's passed on to the baby gets the gut flora from the mom, and so if that's not established early, then the gut's vulnerable, and then we have inflammatory foods that are thrown into the system, mostly artificial junk and processed foods, processed sugars and things like that, causes inflammation. That's thrown into the gut. So right away, we're starting off with antibodies getting produced to our food supply at infancy, and then you throw an increase in antibody production because of vaccines. You're overstimulating the antibody part, and now we've got a total recipe for food allergies and chronic, lifelong inflammatory relationship between the immune system and the gut. So this is something that starts early in life. So what can we do? First of all, we as an adult, what can we do? So it doesn't matter whether, if it's infancy, we can work with things, but all the way through the rest of our life, we have to deal with this. So we definitely want to keep the digestive system calm and cool. We want to soothe the digestive system. So Young Living has products like Digest and Cleanse. Obviously, wouldn't give that to an infant. Now I'm talking about adult. And we can work to soothe, keep the inflammation down. What we choose to eat to keep the inflammation down. In terms of anti-inflammatory diet, avoid meat and dairy and processed foods, which is the vast majority. Most people's diets is meat, dairy, and processed foods. So it's a total overhaul of diet, which we've been doing all year. So don't necessarily freak out and think you have to do all of this right now. This is what we've been doing all year long, okay? And that's why I recommend doing it for a year. So if you're not really doing my program, go back and start at month 1 and work your way across the year, and you'll find that your diet change won't be that dramatic, okay? Little bits over time makes a difference. And so this quarter we're getting rid of refined grains. We're getting rid of that. We've already gotten rid of partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, sugar, artificial stuff, and now we're into the refined grains like flour. A lot of times people say, oh, gluten-free. Well, because gluten, the hybridized wheat, the gluten in the hybridized wheat, it causes inflammation because it's all sticky and it coats the intestine and causes problems. Yes, I agree with that. It does for most people. But that you can't go a gluten-free diet and eat a bunch of refined carbohydrates that are high in sugar. It's just pure sugar, and now we've got the same problem. We're causing inflammation in the gut, and we're going to end up having food allergies and the same just the different things because we're eating different things. So the issue is there's two things going on really. We've got an overactive antibody production in our immune system. We need to increase our innate immunity. We need to strengthen our immune system at the cellular level and not rely on antibodies so much, which is a very peripheral, that's the adaptive immunity. So we've got the baseline immunity, the innate immunity, and the adaptive immunity. And this is where we need to get, and this is where vaccines kind of throw that whole system off, which is why I'm kind of talking a lot about vaccines and the immune system, because a lot of people think that having high antibodies is a healthy immune system, and that's actually not. It's the innate immunity that's the strengthening, that's the thing you want. This is cellular immunity that you want to be strong. So you don't want to sacrifice the innate immunity in exchange for a whole bunch of antibodies. I'd definitely rather have the strong cellular basic immunity and then antibodies if my innate immunity fails. So okay, so the gut. Now a lot of people will take probiotics and take them chronically, and that's yes, we need our probiotics, but if your gut environment is changed such that you can foster the growth of that, then all you need to do is take one round of probiotics, just one course of them, maybe 10 days of a probiotic, and you should be done. You don't need to take it all the time every day. There's no other need. It's repopulated. The bowel is back to balance, and you don't need to take a probiotic every single day all the time. If you're having to do that, then you have not established an environment in the gut that is working. In other words, you just continue on with the bad diet and supplement with a probiotic to cover up the mess. Okay, so that's really not getting you where you want to go, and so it's important to go back and make those diet changes to deal with the stress that is coming into your abdomen, okay, and work with better food choices. So a lot of times for us, it's not the menu, it's the ingredient list. So as we might actually have pancakes and eggs, but we have organic eggs that are vegetarian fed, that are we have everything organic, raw cheese, raw milk cheese. If we're putting cheese on our omelet, everything's organic. We have organic einkorn pancakes. My daughter is sensitive to gluten, the regular wheat gluten, and einkorn wheat does have gluten, but it's a different form of gluten. It has to be different because my daughter does not react to it. She can eat 2 whole pancakes full of einkorn wheat, organic einkorn wheat, but she doesn't react at all. She can have a tiny smidgen, just even a trace of regular wheat, hybridized wheat, even if it's organic, and she'll react and get her whole upper body, face, and gets itchy and rash and all that. So What I'm saying is we need to take care of our gut because our immune system and our immune system both. So if you haven't done the digestive and elimination systems back in month 3 and 4, you need to do those as well. Okay, so what can we do right now is, I mean, we can take our enzymes and we can do, but I mean, obviously we've got a program, we've got the whole program. This is why I'm doing this whole program. So let's do a little breathing, okay, and calm down, cool down the inflammation, right? We know how to do anti-inflammatory breathing. So I'm gonna breathe into the gut, I'm gonna breathe coolness. If you need to grab some peppermint because it has that coolness, you can get your peppermint oil and breathe that in. And okay, so I'm gonna breathe in, going down the tube. It's really easy to breathe down the tube. I'm breathing down the mouth, down the esophagus, into the stomach, and then the windy tube down there. And I'm gonna breathe that nice, smooth, cool. I mean, so I would imagine inflammation to be hot, red, pulsing hot. And I'm just gonna breathe coolness and blue, you know, nice blue, cool, soothing, maybe even a little bit of sparkle because I like the peppermint sparkle. I'm gonna breathe that little sparkle down into my gut. Okay, and soothe and cool, calm down my inflammation system. You can do this on any part of your body right now. I mean, you can do it for your brain. There's a lot of inflammation in the brain. Cool down the brain, cool down the gut, right? I'm gonna breathe that nice blue, sparkly cool. Okay, now I'm gonna breathe in and listen, and is there still some part that's red and pulsing and inflamed? And for me, it's down low, right, probably at sigmoid colon. Okay, and so I'm gonna breathe down in there and cool that down. And so breathing calms down the adrenal gland, especially if we're doing abdominal breathing with the diaphragm. We're actually pumping the lymph, so we're getting the immune system pumped through the lymph nodes, and the immune system can now circulate, right? So I'm gonna breathe to calm down that red, angry immune system. If we tend to have autoimmune tendencies, which I do, I'm gonna breathe down into the gut, and I'm going to add my awareness of the immune system. So I'm going to say, okay, body, show me the inflammation, show me the angry immune system, if it is. I mean, if it's not, great, but show me the immune system that's red and pulsing, and oh, lots of spots come up, right? So I got all kinds of little spots. It's like my own little X-ray, right, or MRI, right? I can breathe in and have my body tell me an image, give me an image. And so all these red spots, oh, even white spots, wow, they're hot, red hot, white hot. So I'm going to breathe in and love on my immune system. I'm gonna breathe love into my lymph nodes. And what if I don't know what I need? So I'm gonna ask God, okay, God, help me breathe in exactly what my immune system needs, whatever that flavor is, whatever the blessing is that God is giving me every moment. I'm gonna ask for a blessing to come down into my gut and into my immune system. So I'm gonna breathe that blessing down into my body. God's specific blessing just for me, just for my immune system, just for my gut right now. And feel that spread out throughout my whole body. Okay, form of light. I like to, usually I think about God's blessings in the form of light. But it's a soothing light, you know, not that white, hot, painful light. You know, light can burn you too. So again, I want to keep my imagery to something that I relate to, so you can pick whatever imagery. We've in the past, and we've done imagery that, you know, has breathing into a rose bush. You know, again, I could do my immune system as a rose bush and see what's going on. It's actually, that's interesting. It's blooming like too much. It's blooming. I mean, like, I'm like, okay, we're still over my immune system, probably just gonna have to deal with it. It's overstimulated. Okay, so if you're like me and you got an overstimulated immune system, need to learn how to manage your stress, need to calm things down, watch your diet very carefully. You cannot afford to eat junk. You can't, not even one time. Not a teaspoon of sugar, not the white sugar, not at all. So if you're like me, you've really got to control those things, okay? You can do it. Wellness is worth it. It's one day at a time. Practice a few things and get better at these things over time. It's not an overnight thing. Wellness is not overnight. It's one day at a time. Happy wellness.